Yeah? Nobody's missing. Nobody's missing. He's here. He's here. Alex here. Okay.
The session is now starting. We kindly request you that you put your phones on silent.
Mic check. Hello.
سوف تبدأ الجلسة الآن. يرجى إبقاء الهواتف المتحركة على الوضع الصامت.
The session is now starting. We kindly request you that you put your phones on silent.
Ladies and gentlemen. Ladies and gentlemen.
سوف تبدأ الجلسة الآن. يرجى إبقاء الهواتف المتحركة على الوضع الصامت.
Ladies and gentlemen, can we have our seats? Ladies and gentlemen, can we please be seated so that we can start the session? Thank you. Good afternoon, everyone. Thanks for joining us on this afternoon session. We had a very exciting morning session. It was very great. And I'm looking forward to a great afternoon session as well. My name is Akinola. I will continue to be your host throughout the remaining 13 days that we have across, I think 12 days now for the session. On behalf of the SGBF, Saudi Green Building Forum Pavilion, we're delighted to have you all joining us in this afternoon session. Today's session will be a panel discussion that will take us through a very interesting topic on startup innovation, startup driving sustainable innovation in the region. Without wasting much time, I would like to invite our moderator to the stage, and that's in the person of Nada Abubakar. Nada is the Middle East Director of Ricardo Global Water Practice. Please put your hands together for Nada.
Thank you, Akinola. Your Excellencies, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to our panel session on startups driving innovation and sustainability. I'm very thrilled to be welcoming you all to our session this morning as we delve into the world of innovation to tackle climate change. And I'm thrilled to be welcoming our esteemed panelists to our session shortly, who will introduce themselves and share with us their own journeys on how they drove sustainability within their organizations and businesses. Let's embark on a journey together filled with insights and inspirations on those journeys and enjoy. If I can, please join me in the session if you can. Just make sure. No, you introduce them. Welcome all. Very, very pleased to have you join this session this afternoon. So in our session today, and I'll just give each of you a chance to introduce yourselves. We've got Majid Marie, CEO of Magnum Properties, Alexei Levine, co-founder and CSO of Desolinator. We have Emel Chadley, EMEA Digital Energy and Software VP, Aline Cordoso, Municipal Secretary, Economic Development and Entrepreneurship, City of Sao Paulo, Brazil. And last but definitely not least, we have architect Gordon Gill, founder of Adrian Smith and Gordon Gill Architecture. Welcome to our panel this session.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thanks. So, I think we'll dive straight into it now that I've introduced you all. Maybe we'll start with Aline, if that's okay.
Yes. Hello, everybody.
Hi.
So, Aline, how are you as a municipal leader shaping policies that enable development of partnerships and collaborations in expanding the sustainability agenda in the business world?
Well, first of all, thank you for this invitation. It's a pleasure to be here. We are a few members of São Paulo delegation. We have the government secretary, Edson Aparecido, environment secretary, Ravena, secretary for climate change, Natalini, and secretary for international relations, and secretary for public administration. Well, we are all municipal leaders, and we are shaping the future for the city of São Paulo for being more sustainable by, well, first of all, leading by example. The city itself has to be an engine for pushing the transition, right? And that's what we are doing. We have many programs, and especially I would like to talk about one of them because I'm in charge of entrepreneurship. We are supporting startups in building solutions for environmental challenges. First of all, by training them, showing them the way, by also buying from them, of course, and also accelerating them and giving them seed money for their businesses to grow. So I think as public leaders, we have to show the way, but also to push the economy to find the best way to do the transition.
Wonderful. Thank you, Aline. Appreciate your insights there. And a question to the rest of the panelists, starting with Majid. What partnerships are required for you, and how are you leveraging them to enable sustainability within your business? And if each of you can just maybe give a quick brief of your organization before we jump into it.
Yeah, so we are Magnum Properties, a part of Wabi Holding, as a real estate arm of the group. And the sustainability for us, it's a main factor for us. The partnership regarding this sustainability, it's depending on, it's not just considering consultant partnership. We sharing our behavior regarding the sustainability with our consultant as a part of our behavior inside the company, and we depending on them to innovate and push the barrier of the sustainability as much as we can inside our behavior and the culture inside the company itself. So we creating now a green culture inside our company, and depending on this culture to innovate a part of sustainability with each department, because each department had different side of the sustainability. It will not matching with the other part of the sustainability in other department. So this is exactly the fact of the partnership. We are working as a Forbes International Tower, a part of Wabi Holding. We are working with the major sustainable consultant like Schneider, like ASGG, like BMW Group, also others, Leonardo, and all of them. One of the main aspect on this, it's sustainability, and we're trying to change the definition of luxury, because the definition of luxury now it's not depending on the materialistic of the gold or silver or other material. It's a part of sustainability. So sustainability, it's a part of the quality of any organization right now. So this is exactly the situation in our organization. Thank you.
Excellent. Thank you, Majid. That was very
welcome.
insightful. Over to you, Gordon, if you can share with us, firstly, a bit more about your organization, and then just share with us about what partnerships.
Sure. We're an architectural practice, international practice out of Chicago. So we have planning, architecture, interior design. We have a pretty robust energy and carbon platform that we've been working on for decades now. We do a lot of research, a lot of publications. So the range of work kind of cuts through the cross-section of everything in the built environment, really. We get asked to do all kinds of strange projects, coastal rehabilitation, we'll do large-scale super tall buildings, we'll do cities, we'll also do carbon assessment and carbon management. So the partnerships are varied, and we like to work with a variety of groups that are bringing intelligence or vehicles or improving the kind of processes that we are trying to employ to create net zero carbon or neutrality or whatever it is we might be working on at the time. So we work with investors, we work with banks, we work with ecologists, we work with scientists, artists, everything that is from the supply chain all the way to the user groups. Psychologists in terms of the psychology of comfort and cultures. So the partnerships are varied, and they're not necessarily project specific. We have built over the years a group of, I would call them associations that we like to repeat. And so we go from project to project and we build on those as we get into certain regions. I would say we always like to work with local groups because we like to learn from those groups, and we also like to transfer our experience to those groups because we feel in an important way some of the most sustainable work we can do is transfer knowledge or learn from others. So those partnerships are pretty fun.
Excellent. Thank you, Gordon. Thanks for sharing that. And Amal, maybe if you can share with us also what partnerships are required. I think you'd have to be under a rock if you don't know Schneider Electric. It doesn't need any introductions, but maybe what your business unit does, and then what partnerships did you form over time?
Okay, thank you very much for this excellent question. In fact, we define ourselves as a Schneider Electric as the digital partner for sustainability and efficiency. So you see in your question, you have already all our definition and how we do see ourselves. In Schneider, the sustainability is really at the heart of everything that we are doing. And we are very proud to say that we were appointed and nominated during 12 consecutive years by Corporate Knight as the most sustainable company in the world. And this is our honor. So no need to talk more, to explain to you how it's close to our heart. Now, the way that we see sustainability, we see it as a holistic way. The sustainability is how we impact and how we are doing good for the planet, for our people, and for the profit and the business. And by saying that, we know that we cannot act alone. And this is why we are always working with partners. So we are partnering with different stakeholders. could be government, and we are in UAE today. So our pride was to collaborate with the Ministry of Industry and Advanced Technology last year to do some research about the industrialization and the digitization of the companies that are present in UAE. We are partnering with NGOs, and I am also part of the board of Rest for Africa, which is in foundation, who is working for the new renewable energy in Africa, and Schneider and Rest for Africa. We are partnering in order to train the people in microgrid technology. And last but not least, we are also partnering with the most iconic partners like Magnum, for example, in order to build a brighter and greener future. So our relationship with Magnum and Forbes International start now since 2 years. And I remember my first meeting with Mr. Megid Murray, who just told me, okay, you are the digital partner, so find to me the technology that did not yet exist, you know? And this was our contract from day one, how to build the future, how to build this amazing and iconic tower by bringing a new technology. So I will let perhaps Mr. Megid Murray to comment on our partnership, but this is in very nutshell what we are doing in Schneider Electric.
Lovely. Very, very exciting, and I got a chance to hear about the project, so well done and all the best on that. So this session is about startups driving innovation, so it won't be complete with without an actual startup. So we're lucky to have the co-founder and CSO of Desolinator. If you can just give us a quick brief, Alexei, on Desolinator, and just share with us what partnerships you had in place to drive sustainability.
Sure, thank you very much, Nada. So yeah, Desolinator, we've developed a solar desalination technology that takes seawater, salty groundwater, doesn't use any chemicals, and we make very high quality drinking water at low cost. And now we're building a crystallizer, which means we make salt, so nothing goes back in the environment. So if you want to do desalination and you want to do it sustainably, come and talk to us. We've deployed our first large-scale plant here for DEWA, it's the national utility. And I'd like to, with the lens of partnership, because you know, the future's creeping up on us pretty fast, right? And especially when it comes to climate change. So that means we need new ways of thinking, we need new ways of engaging, and we need new types of partnerships. The old ways are not necessarily serving us well. And I think particularly as an innovator, you know, we are in the trenches, right? We're developing technology, we're dealing with investors, you know, it's hard, it's super hard. So what we look for, especially is larger companies, corporations that have a problem that we can fix, where we can create value, but that also can go on a journey with us. So how does that start? It starts with a shared vision. You have to be able to look into the future and have an idea of what you want to create. And that has to be exciting, right? It needs to be something that we want to aspire to, because when you're working with large organizations, change takes time. You need to have champions. You need to have people in the organization who say, look, don't worry about the politics of my company. I'll deal with that. You do the innovation and we'll go and do it together. And you know what? We'll learn through it and we'll make magic happen. We'll do something incredible. So the lens that I'd like to share this with is we've just gone live now with our second large-scale plant here. It's for the national food company, Silal. It's part of ADQ. And we are taking brackish water in the desert, salty water in the ground, and we're growing tomatoes and we're growing bell peppers in the desert. We're taking the abundant resources of sun and huge pool of salty water, and we're literally growing food in the desert. Food security is #1 national priority here and across the region. So in that case, we started by finding an executive within Silal who really wanted to champion this, who understood that to achieve food security in this region, you need to solve water and you need to solve cooling. We're a thermal technology, we're doing both. And we're tailoring the remineralization for the individual produce as well. We're just starting that, but it's very exciting. Imagine the perfect water for a given strawberry. That's what we're just starting here. So I think it's about the vision, and then it's about going through the process. It takes time, it takes energy, but then you have the results. And I'm very proud that actually on the 7th of December, we're going to be having a series of delegations coming to visit our site. We're going to probably have about 200 people through the day. I think that's the free day in COP, so lucky you. But it's a very exciting moment for us. Thank you.
Thanks, Alexei, and I'm one of those lucky people, so I'm really looking forward to that trip. So back to you, Majid. You're embarking on a pretty bold journey as a leader. How do you communicate to your company and stakeholders this journey, this green ambitions that you have and vision? And how do you create commitment to sustainability within your company?
I will take from Alexei the word that he said, that we talk about the future, and saying that we talk with the future itself. We make our team inside the company who have the vision to think about, it is not now, it is after 5 or 6 years the project will be there. So we need to imagine what's happening within this 5 years exactly, to realize that we are responsible on the coming generation when this project will be there on the ground. So one of the things that we need to ask ourselves, how the future will look like to our children, to the next generation, what's happening in the future? Are we will be changing, or we just watching what's happening around us? So this is the fact of the and the matter of the COP28, COP29, or whatever the COP it is. And from the other perspective, that we need to think also, are we will put ourselves as a responsible for this culture in the future, or just watching and doesn't put our hand on the problem itself? So with our partnership inside the Forbes International Tower with all our consultants and our partners, we found a solution for a lot of things. That's why we are start to be one of the most sustainable tower worldwide. You know, we put an initiative that nobody reached before, and we talk about it, and we see coming from there, coming back word to see how we solve it, how we solve these problems in the energy. Let's say we will generating 100% of the energy of our building from the building itself. So 25% will be coming from the photovoltaic in the facade. 75% will be generating by the hydrogen, LOHC, the liquid organic hydrogen. It will be from the tower itself. So we will be off grid of the tower. We are reaching the net negative carbon emission. And we think now with our partner ASGG in Chicago and with Schneider and the others, they are not there today, how we collecting the material. So we think about the embedded carbon, the circle of the embedded carbon for constructing such a building like this. So it become a symbolic, iconic tower. The rest of the developers should be look at it and start thinking. So we start to generating this inside and outside. It's not only inside the company. Inside the company, they know the vision, but the outside also they start to asking. You ask me today, is it will be happening this in Egypt and the other country? Yes, it happened. It will be happening soon. You will see it soon. After 3 or 4 years, you will find it in front of you. So this is the future, and should be COP28 looking for this innovation, the same like what Alexei said.
Excellent.
Yeah.
Majid, very exciting project, and I've never been to Egypt, but I'm now incentivized to come down and see it. And Gordon, you're part of this exciting journey. So tell us, how do you communicate this green vision of yours within your company, and how do you create commitment as well?
Well, I think internally we have a long-standing philosophy of just pursuing better performing buildings, whatever that might mean. And it's transformed over the last 2 decades. So, we are always kind of looking at the larger picture and going back and forth between the kind of system architecture or the building architecture and its relationship to cities and nations. We talked about this a little bit this morning. So for us, we're communicating the role of the building in many different ways. We're communicating the importance of documentation and research as it relates to producing the data that is genuine and actually quantifiable and accountable. There's a lot of conversation around how you measure, what's the definition of, net zero or carbon or, everything else. And then as we go through that process, we report on it. We have a series of metrics that are measured against energy, carbon, cost, and value, beauty. We include beauty as part of it. And then we have the partners that are bringing to the table the platforms that allow this building to actually be realized, right? So we are working with the supply chain, we're working with Schneider, obviously, all of the components that go into making this realized. But I think the bigger message for us as we look forward is the role of this building having to be able to pivot the thinking around what large-scale buildings can contribute to infrastructure, how can they genuinely be affordable and sustainable to all, and how do we really transform the way we think about cities. We refer to the buildings as vehicles for thought, and so we're looking at them from an educational standpoint, how they can help teach, how they can help change policy, how they can help change the thinking around cities. And so they're much bigger than the actual quantifiable steel and concrete that go into the building itself. So the communication and education around that is twofold. We are learning from our client and their vision, and we are putting ours forward, and together we hopefully come up with solutions that are of value to more than just the client, but to the cities that they're in. And in that way, we can communicate a much broader message over time.
Excellent. Thank you, Gordon. Back to you, Alexei. So similar question, but as a technology company, I think I'd be interested more on the commitment and communication externally. You're pushing the envelope on traditional desalination. So how do you? So it's a pretty bold vision. How do you communicate that to external stakeholders, and how do you create that commitment for them to continue that journey with you?
Yeah, I mean, I guess I'd call it banging the drums. Because actually what you're doing is you're telling a story of the future. And the thing about the future is that we're not conditioned to see it. We think about the future as a kind of incremental version of the past. The future is going to be much weirder, that's for sure. And for sure, water is going to be at the center of our future. I actually frequently talk about that the way that water is dealt with in this region will determine the future of this region. I mean, it's fundamental to food, to life itself. I mean, I think it's a given. So with that, what I've found is if I give people data, they get bored. If I tell you that by 2030, there's going to be a 40% deficit in clean water in the world, right? 40% of the world's population is not going to have access to clean water in less than a decade. Reality, right? But, okay, I'll have a coffee now, right? But if I tell you a story about the future and somehow you're able to relate to it and make it personal and understand. I had a child recently. I've got a 10-month-old boy. And, even though I've been championing these causes for a while, it gives a very different dimension. And you talk about having kids, and it's a very powerful lens to see the future because, sure, we can create the leaders of the future, but we can also create a very difficult environment for them. So anyway, I think it's about making it personal. It's about having a story that people can relate to. And then it's about finding the people who are the pioneers. Because there's a lot of talk, honestly speaking, and there's a lot of noise. And within that noise, you have to find the signal. And they're out there. And for us, when we look at large organizations, for example, we always look who's the person internally who's like an entrepreneur, who thinks like an entrepreneur, who knows how to manage things internally and who knows how to create change and to defy gravity, because gravity is very powerful. Thank you.
Defining gravity, I like that. Aline, back to you. You've heard some journeys towards transition. You obviously have your own journey around that. What steps, in your opinion, does leadership have to commit when it comes to that transition?
Well, I think first of all, we need political willing. And I think that's what COP is about. So we are talking about leaders who have to really commit to the future, that future that will be maybe even harder than we can imagine. And besides commitment, we need concrete actions. And when we're talking about public sector, concrete action is about funding, is about investment. So I think we must have, at international level, funds, commitments, including those who can, affording those who cannot, because the planet is only one. But also at local level, because everywhere is local level, right? We need this commitment and we need this investment. We are doing that in São Paulo. Our mayor, Ricardo Nunes, is investing a lot. As I said, we have here Environment Secretary, we have climate change, waste management. So we have a lot of policies, innovative policies. But besides commitment and investment, we need innovation. Usually, governments are lagging behind society in many sectors. You know, you, private sector, you're innovators, and government is catching up. We cannot have this situation now. Government must be ahead, pushing and supporting and sponsoring. So that's what we are trying to do in São Paulo. For example, we are recently launching a sustainable public purchase policy, investment to transform, investment to adapt, to mitigate also. And for example, our fleets, we are transforming its energy. We are now having the sugarcane ethanol fleet, and also electrification of the fleet. So by concrete actions, we can, move forward. Also, be innovative on the infrastructures and the use of public buildings and public structures. So for instance, we had in the center of São Paulo a landfill which was closed. And now we have a green innovation center in the building that was an incinerator before. So I think by pushing society, by concrete examples, by investment, by innovation, and of course partnerships with the private sector. So if we do all that together, we can go faster. Maybe not fast enough because we are already late, but we can go as fast as possible to the transition we need.
Excellent. Thank you, Aline, for sharing that. And great to hear these stories from the ground. Brazil is another place I'd like to go to, so maybe that's
welcome.
Thank you. So I want to go back to the Schneider Electric experience. You're a leader in the energy space. How do you find the role of energy transition in achieving the net zero targets?
In fact, the energy is at the core of the sustainability and the net zero. If we step back a little bit and look at the link between the energy and the CO2 emission, so we will discover that 80% of the CO2 emission is linked either to the production or the consumption of the energy. This is the first fact. The second one is the fact that this 80% of this energy is based on fossil fuel. So it means that we have to work together through the transition. And this is why it's very important. So at our stage, as a stakeholder, we are believing that the transition of the energy will come from a world who was all digital and all electrical. Why digital? Because the digitization will allow more and more efficiency and then reducing the energy consumption. The electrification will, in fact, help in the transition, because the electricity is the most green resource, and this is why we believe on the electrical world. Now, how we are working toward this energy transition as a multinational, first by collaborating with other stakeholders, by being present in events like the COP28, but not only. We are also taking it as a daily fight, you know. And we have one project which is called Net Zero Project, where we embarked with us 1,000 companies that they gave the pledge to reduce their CO2 emission by 2025 by 50%. It's a pledge, but we are not working only on the pledge. Yeah, what is important, as my co-panelist was saying, the willing is here. In fact, it's more question of fundings, and mainly the technology exists, and we can all testimony on it. And here also we are influencing by being present in the government, you know, in the public sector, the private sectors, and the NGO. I do believe that, in fact, it's a triangle. Nobody will be able, you know, to take this journey alone, and the partnership and the collaboration are important. Now, if I can give some examples, we are working with the Tolkien Schneider Electric. So as a leader, one part of my bonus is based on the sustainability result of the company. And this way of assessing our impact is visible and is public, because we are a public company. So at the beginning of each year, we declare our target in terms of sustainability. Then we are audited, and then the leaders are paid if they get the results. And I think this is important step, because all of us, we believe on the sustainability, but when your salary depends on it, it's also another story. This is one part. The second one is also we published what we are calling the Schneider Sustainability Index. And I was saying, we declare our objective at the beginning of the year. It's audited by external company, and we publish it to our investors. So, and here you can imagine how serious we are about it. So just few figures. From 2018 to today, we were proud to contribute on saving or avoiding 440 million tons of CO2. 80% of our products that we are selling are having the green premium. It means that they are audited and they are having this positive impact on the planet. We are also working on the circular economy, and 45% of our packaging are avoiding either the single use of the plastic or are recycled. And you have here a few examples. We are also working on the awareness for the sustainability, because, you know, and the net zero. So we have what we are calling the sustainability school, which is mandatory for all our employees. But not only for our employees, we open it also for external community in order to bring the awareness, because again, the sustainability is the matter of everyone, every person on this planet. So, and we are giving this guidance and this commitment, how we can change our behavior in order to help in the energy transition.
Wonderful. It's great to see a large corporate not just talking the talk, but walking it too. Thank you for those examples that were shared, Amal. And going back to Majid and Gordon, so as developers, you're contributing, not you personally, but in general, developers are known to be contributing 40% of emissions. So how do you, within your line of business, try to change that and create decarbonization?
Well, I think we've set some pretty rigorous standards and goals for ourselves as architects. I think we have an average of something like a 66% reduction in our buildings that we design for our clients, and that's okay. It's never enough. So when clients like Magnum come along and ask us to pursue the kind of extreme net zero life cycle equations around the built environment, we get very excited about that. I think that we're lucky to have a group of people in the firm that are completely dedicated and are simply excited about solving problems around the world. And what we've found over the years is that even though we're architects, we're now being asked to help all kinds of different issues, everything from organizational structures in other firms to, coastal issues, looking at the kind of educational aspects of certain nations in terms of educating people and children around sustainability. And it's just an enjoyable process. I think it's a great time to be in the built environment. It's very challenging, but I think that we have found that the mindset behind the built environment is changing and shifting. I can tell you it certainly has changed over the last 20 years or 30 years of practice that I've been in. And we are eager to find the relationships between what we do and things like what Alexei does. I mean, I'm listening to Alexei talk about growing tomatoes in the desert and, the right kind of water for the flavor of the strawberry. And that kind of thinking or that kind of process around what you do is the kind of thinking and process that we come and talk to you about. What does that mean to the built environment? What does growing strawberries in the desert have to do with us? And when we talk about things like water, which I would agree with you 100% in terms of the critical nature of that, especially in a region like this, when we say that we can save 76% of the water use of a building, we are now talking about putting investments into other areas with those funds, and that's the kind of innovation that we love to cross-pollinate. I don't think it's wise to silo industries at all. In fact, when you asked the first question about who are our partners, I was struggling to answer your question because it's everybody. I mean, we will talk to the space, the guys at NASA. We'll talk to automobile guys. We'll talk to psychologists. We'll talk to fisheries. We'll talk to artists. We'll talk to everybody that we think goes into contributing to the built environment. And we don't look at it as a independent or isolated event. We look at it as a very holistic, very entrenched, knitted kind of ecosystem. So it's an opportunity and it's a challenge all at the same time.
Thanks, Gordon. Any comments there, Magid?
No, I will just only one comment regarding it's a start usually with one example, and it's spreading after this example at any place in the world. So the good things are when it started, everybody look at these good things and start to think, what you are doing, guys, is it work? Is it visible? Is it can be done here? So the people start to think. So if you, as an example, if you put a solar panel in your house, your neighborhood will look at your solar panel and ask himself, why I don't do the same? What happened? Why he do these things? What is the impact of this solar panel on his house? Is he saving money from this solar panel? Is this solar panel will give him saving cost of the electricity every month or something like this? So it's a start usually with the developers who's thinking in behind of what happening last 50 or 60 or 70 years ago and looking to what happening will be happening in the coming future. And in this field, we need a commitment from the government. We need a commitment from the funding institution in the world, because it costs us also more inside our development. This is not an easy development. It costs us time, it costs us money, and it costs us thinking about how we can do it. So we need a support. We need a support from our partner. We need a support from our government. We need a support from the world international institutions, like what happening right now. So we are here not just to share legacy, about the things. We are here to saying that we are here to develop better world for the people, and we need also those decision maker to supporting us on the other side. So that's the situation.
Thank you, Majid, and that's a nice kind of overview of what really is needed to drive that change. So thank you for that critical summary. I might open up the floor to the audience to ask any questions. Do we have any questions from the viewers? Don't be shy. No questions. All right. Well, final thoughts from the panel. Looking ahead, how can businesses transition into a more sustainable path? What more needs to be done, in your opinion? I'll just go quickly around the panel.
Yeah. If I have to start, I will say first we need to be aware that we are the only generation that can change the trajectory of the climate change. And I think this is very important for everyone because, you know, we see it like something very far, etc. But we are the only one that can change. The second thing is I think that we need to be optimistic. As I said, the willing is here, the technology is here. We see the new generation really taking a lot of time and thought about the future and the sustainability. But we need to be activists and we should not forget it. It's not just a thought, it's not just a talk, it's the sustainability, it's not anymore a matter of marketing or Marcom, it's a way of being, I will say. If all of us, we will do that, for sure we will be bringing impact. As a personal thought, I think this COP, what I'm expecting is to be the COP of the the action instead of the COP of the pledge. So we are really very optimistic and waiting for the progress during this COP.
Thank you, Emma. Over to you, Alexei.
Final thoughts. Well, I mean, you know, let's hope that there's not a COP29, right? I mean, so anyway, I guess, look, I think from our perspective, the more that we address fundamental or what are called wicked problems, water, energy, food, that nexus, if you can solve that nexus, and you can do it in a way that's low carbon or even carbon negative, which is all doable. This is all doable, by the way. And I guess the main thing for me is like, think about the value, the true value of these things. The amount of times when I talk with people and, you know, it's like, yeah, but water costs, you know, in Dubai, water's 45 cents a cubic meter. And it's like, well, okay, sure. But what about the brine going into the ocean? What about the subsidized energy that's being used? Let's think about the real value of these things. And yeah, look, I just very happy to talk with anybody who feels some inspiration and wants us to help take on this very, very challenging problem of water. Thank you.
Thanks, Alexei. Aline?
Well, I think, believe it or not, we still need to raise awareness. There are many people who don't believe or they think it's not their problem or it's not now. This year in Brazil, we had a lot of climate change phenomenon in a level that we never had before. And you know what? Somehow I was a little bit happy with that. Not because of the, you know, all the problems we had, but then some people who still did not believe, they said, oh, maybe there is a climate change problem. So I said, well, at least now they understand there is a problem. So I think we still need more awareness, and especially for consumers, so that when consumers want more sustainable solutions, businesses will provide them with more sustainable solutions. On the other hand, I think entrepreneurs need to dare more. And congratulations and to all of them, but especially those who are, small companies or those who are beginning, because I think entrepreneurs need to dare more on clean solutions. We have a saying when we support entrepreneurs that means wherever there is a problem, there is a business opportunity. So, oh my God, there's so many businesses opportunities in climate change, in environment problems. So I think we need more entrepreneurs to create and to dare and to invest in clean solutions. And of course, we need the public sector to support it. So I think these are some of the ideas, and we have to go faster, we have to go deeper, we have to go, all together. So I think that's it. I mean, we are far from having a solution, but we all have to make people believe and make people make things happen. So count on us.
Excellent. Thank you, Aline. And a nice call for innovators to come to Brazil as well to
Yes,
tackle
please
these
come.
challenges.
Innovators and investors, please come. And tourists also.
Like
Great
me.
place.
Magid,
Yes,
final thoughts?
I think we all are here today on this week because we are sustainability leaders. So we need to think carefully. It is a responsibility in our shoulder how to spread this culture between our organization in the future, because we learn from our leaders about the sustainability, and we should learn the coming people who will be joining us or in the same city or in the same country, the think of how to be sustainable also. So we are not here just for getting what we are thinking about. We are here to sharing our think and to know that we are here together because we are leaders in this sustainability in the coming future. So I hope that everybody in this zone to understand that he's ambassador. He's not just only an observer, just coming to see what's happening around him. He needs to spread this culture through the world. That's it.
Wonderful. Thank you, Magid. Gordon.
Tough acts to follow, but I hope that one of the fears that I have is that organizational cultures or cultures in general often don't change unless faced with severe circumstances. And what we're really talking about here is the culture of the species, and I think that's a monumental kind of concept. But that said, I would love to see national action come out of this COP. I think it's wonderful that we're all as individuals or companies being able to do what we can to the best of our abilities. But I think that unless we can have a really integrated perspective on the entire national footprint and those interrelationships between nations to solve regions, I think we need to just move a little faster and I think we need to up the scale. And I think we can. We have the technology to do it. We have experts to do it. We have, brilliant people in almost every field of endeavor. I hope that leaders of nations will seek them out and seek out genuine solutions that are actionable. It's easy to talk about it, but what we need are tangible examples that people can follow and execute.
Thank you, Gordon, and thank you to all my panelists today. It's been really insightful and inspirational to hear your journeys towards sustainable innovation, and thank you all for joining us.
The seven sectors that are covered in the ecological transformation plan, they are being developed as we speak. The bioeconomy, nurturing of new trees is so complicated. Thank you. It was a pleasure.
Pleasure. You are in Sao Paulo?
Yes.
I love Sao Paulo.
Oh, good. Thank you.
شكرا لردي.
For a couple of years.
For your
Pleasure. Yeah, that's right. I did that.
Trying to speak Portuguese is a waste of time. Just
Well, that's enough.
for us to learn, what it is to really produce food in a sustainable way. And then to also
People like my wife, she does strawberry. She actually sells strawberries in a store. We're not doing it. No. What we're doing, we have a water plant.
where we work together,
beaucoup.